guys, it's me again. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel where I'm consistently inconsistent, and that is the only consistent thing about me. Look at that! I'm not in my car anymore. I've decided to dedicate some time out of my busy schedule. I'm kidding, I don't really have anything going on, but y'all need to know that, but you do know that because we're internet besties, and who keeps secrets from their internet bestie? Anyway, what was I trying to say? I'm back in front of my blue screen in my room because, you know, I'm sick of filming in my car. And before I go to work, I like to nap instead of film videos. It just depends on how I feel that day. Sometimes I'll have the energy, a lot of times I don't. But that's not the point of this video. Once Upon a Time fans, this is for you, okay? Because I love that show. I got into the show, well, it was airing its like 5th season? Yeah, I think that's when I got into the show, like when I really got invested in the lore and stuff. It was around the 5th season. And one of the characters that I connected to the most is Mr. Gold, Rumplestilisken. This man had like 15 different names. Robert Carlyle did his big one on this show, but there's something that always kind of like, I was kind of like, about it. And by the way, spoiler warning for anybody who has not seen the show, go watch it and then come back. This is your only spoiler warning, to be honest. So go watch the show, come back, and we'll have a good time. But for right now, this is for everybody who has watched the show, and this might be controversial, or it might be something you agree with. I just gotta tell you my opinion. Honestly, I think it is a controversial opinion, and I'm very brave for saying it out loud. Rumplestilisken should have stayed dead. I'm sorry. There ain't no sugarcoating it. There ain't no hand-holding. I'm just ripping the band-aid off. Rumplestilisken should have stayed dead. His last appearance on the show as an alive character, not even a full-time actor, but as a live character in that show, was season 3. And I know that everybody's like, but excuse me, Rumple's iconic, Mr. Gold, all of it. He's literally the villain for season 4, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, sure, but like, his character arc between season 1 to season 3 was beautiful. It was phenomenal. It was chef's kiss. Like, it was, you didn't know what side he was on. You didn't know who he was for and who he was against. He literally was for himself. Like, I think he teetered the line between anti-hero and anti-villain. Like, he was willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. Like, and whatever that means, helping the good guys or the bad guys, it did not matter. As long as he got what he wanted. Like, literally, he created the curse in order to get back to his son. But he couldn't enact the curse because the only person he cares about the most, if he had him here, he wouldn't have needed the curse in the first place. So that's why he used Regina in order to get that curse enacted. If you're complaining about spoilers, you need to leave. I told y'all about the spoilers. We're getting into spoiler territory. Okay, I love y'all. Come back when you finish watching the show. Or you know what, put me on mute. Let me get the watch time. And then watch the show, and then come back and then watch me on volume. That's what you can do. That's what you can do if you're a real one. Okay, sorry. Let me get back on track. Yeah, but he literally tricked Regina. Well, not tricked, but like convinced Regina to use the curse in order to get back to his son. Unfortunately, he kind of had to roofie himself in the process. But I think there was like a thing, I don't know if it's canon or if this is just fanon, where he hears the name of the savior and then Emma, and then that's when he comes back. He wakes up from the dream and knows what's going on. Because even Regina doesn't know. Like, she doesn't even know if he's actually under the spell or not. Like, it's just like, and I honestly am not entirely sure. They never really confirmed it, if he was under the spell or not. So I heard this fanon theory, but I don't remember if it's canon or fanon because, you know, the internet be interneting. And, you know, once the story gets out, a lot of people be saying it, and it could be true, but unless it's from the writers, unless it's from the writers or the actor himself, I take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, but he he was like, and then when he got back to his son, he did everything he could to prove to his son that, hey, I did this all for you. I made a mistake all those years ago. I love you. You're the only person who matters to me. You're one of the most important people in my life. Because he also loved Belle. Like, she's just as important to him as Neil. That's his son's name, by the way, Neil Bellfire. But in the real world, his name is Neil. In the Enchanted Forest world, the fairy tale realm, his name is Bellfire. Anyway, yeah, so it's just like him going from being someone you're not really sure if he's an ally or not to full-on hero by the end of his first run. Because I like to think season 1 to season 3 part A ending Rumple is different from season 3 part B to the series finale Rumple. And for me, the series finale was season 6. I haven't even watched season 7. I don't want to watch season 7. Y'all can't make me watch season 7. Sucks to suck. It felt like it should have been a different show. It felt like it shouldn't have been tacked on. It felt like it should have did its own thing and been its own thing. I know they changed it up because Jennifer Morrison did not want to come back. She came back for a little bit, but she did not want to come back. A lot of the major actors from the show was ready to move on, so that is why they changed it up and aged up Henry. But honestly, there's a reason why this season got canceled after that, because it was just like the story was over. We only really cared about Emma and her story. Love Henry, but like he works best as a side character. Henry doesn't feel like he can hold the show on his own. I'm sorry. And it's nothing to the actors. The actors are very talented. It's not that. It's just that Henry as a character, as a person, just didn't have the gravitas to hold on to the show. No, even Emma didn't have that gravitas, really. It was everyone around her that helped her hold the gravitas. Her relationships with her parents, her boyfriend, her husband now, her husband, her enemy turn frenemy turn best friend turn mother, sister mother. Sister mother. It's funny that her sister mother, Regina, is actually her adopted grandmother. I'm gonna do a video breaking down how all those relationships connect because it is wild. I've seen a lot of videos out there, but you haven't seen my video about it. So, sorry, I'm getting really, really sidetracked. Back on point. Rumple's story worked. Like, it felt like he went through a character arc, a genuine character arc, even though he wasn't like he wasn't like a lead, he was like a supporting character in the background, and you never knew what side he was on until after he reunites with Bellfire and shows that he is trying to be a better person. That doesn't mean that he's perfect. He still will be selfish. He still made mistakes. He still did the wrong thing, but he was working hard to be a better man for his son and for Belle, because once she got her memory back, she was basically like his moral compass, to be honest. She was the reason why he was able to make good choices. She wasn't the reason, but it was just like she was the one who inspired him to make a better choice, if that makes sense. Not like it was she, because she was his moral compass. If you look in the during the flashbacks, when they had their flashback episodes and flashback scenes, he was like a terrible person, and she gave him empathy. She taught him empathy, and and being able to like understand other people's problems, and that the world doesn't revolve around you, and you're not the only one who's hurting. Okay. Also, his story felt done. Like, his story in season 3 was really good. It was a culmination of everything he learned from season 1 and season 2, and now he's finally putting it into practice. And he's still faltering, but his resolve never weakened on saving Henry. Season 3, like, everybody thought that he was trying to like kill Henry and all that stuff, but they showed us as the audience that he was willing to sacrifice and ready to die. He just doesn't want to die. And that was the only thing stopping him. He doesn't want to die. It's not that he wants to kill Henry. He just knows that they said the boy will be his undoing. And everybody thought the boy was Henry. The boy was not Henry. And I think Rumple knew that. Like, that was the reason why he came prepared, ready, why he got rid of his shadow, why he had his dagger hidden away, because he knew the boy that they were talking about in the prophecy was his father. Yeah. If you know, you know. But Rumpelstiltskin, Peter Pan is Rumpelstiltskin's dad in that universe. The show got wild. I'm not gonna lie. Season 3 is my favorite season, if you didn't know. If you didn't know, season 3 is my favorite season to rewatch because the way that everything just went left in the best way possible. It just went left. And it was so great. I loved it. Anyway, yeah, so the prophecy was about Pan, him having to kill Pan and ultimately basically killing himself because he can't kill Pan without killing himself. Anyway, but it felt like everything he learning that his grandson is the Savior's son, and learning that he was supposed to, learning that his son was connected to the Savior and all that. Like, it's just like learning that these people are important to his son, and Belle being there, being a positive influence on him, really helped him to grow and to become a better person and to die a good man. And I felt like that's what happened. Like, when he died in the mid-season finale, it felt earned. You felt bad for him going because it felt like he deserved his happy ending. Being able to live a life with Belle and he has Neil back in his life, and he's willing to like work on their relationship together, and his grandson who believes in the best of him. And that's another thing that I didn't like about the later seasons is they don't really acknowledge that Rumple is Henry's grandfather. Like, after, like, no one really, like, after season 3, it's kind of just forgotten about. Like, we're all just like, hey, remember, even when they bring back up Neil, they never really bring up the fact that, like, even Henry doesn't even really use that connection often. And you would think that push come to shove, if he really needed some help, like if he just wanted to blackmail Rumple, because Rumple has this weird code when it comes to his family, and he would help Henry. Like, he would help Henry if Henry asked for it. But Henry never used that gift. Except, I think it was when Emma became like Dark Emma, like Dark Swan, when she became like the Dark One. I think that's when he cashed in on like, hey, Grandpa, watch after my mom, okay? Or wait, was he watching after his mom? Or am I mixing up with season 2 when Snow killed Regina's mom? I think it was when Snow killed Regina's mom. But yeah, no, I don't think they ever used that. That was such a wasted potential. I would totally use that. But yeah, no, but he felt like by the end of season 3, the mid-season finale of season 3, his character arc was over. He reached the end. He learned his lessons. He grew, and it felt like this was a good stopping point for him as a person. Like, this, I don't think, like, it was just like, of course he had room to grow and to become even better. Like, he could have became a hero like Regina, but that's not really what Rumple needed as a character, was just to get his family back. And he got his family back, and it felt like that was the end. It felt like there was nowhere for him to go. Which leads me to my next point. It felt like they had to redo the same arc over and over again instead of giving him something new like Regina. And that is true. It felt like they kept having him relearn the same lesson over and over again, which, fair enough, as human beings, sometimes we have to relearn lessons over and over and over again. It's just that season 1 to season 3 did so well on his character arc about learning that lesson that it felt kind of watered down the second time around and the third time around, because they did that plot in season 4 when he teamed up with all those really popular villainesses, Ursula and Maleficent and Cruella. He had to learn that lesson, and then he learned the lesson and almost died. And then in season 6 he had to learn the lesson again, even though technically at that point he was trying to be a better man. It was just that at that point everybody was so fed up with his crap, including the one person that always had his back, Belle. Like, the only person that kept giving him chance after chance, she was even fed up. Even though the one time he was actually telling the truth and say, hey, I didn't do anything to you. That wasn't me. No one believed him, because of course, why would anyone believe him? And then season 7, he kind of regresses again because of the whole mind wipe thing. Just because I haven't seen the show doesn't mean I don't know what happened. I love looking into, like, spoilers and stuff. That's just who I am as a person, because I love spoilers. I love finding out what's happening in the story, and then watching the story and seeing how it gets to that point. Don't get me wrong, I let myself be surprised too, but I just really like finding out what's going on in the story. I like finding out what's going on in the show before I get invested in the show, because if it's just gonna go down the toilet, I don't really want to get involved. I think the last show I've ever been truly shocked by is Prison Break. I got into Prison Break over the summer, and that show had me on my toes. And then oh, they lost me in season 4, just a little bit in season 4. Like at the end, it kind of got a lot, but then season 5 came back through, and I was like, not season 5. They were doing their big one on that one. I'm not gonna lie, it was a really good show. Sorry, this is about Rumple. Yeah, but okay. Next point. No, I'm still not even done with the next point. The point I'm on. Yeah, they didn't give him a lot to work with when it came to, they just kept giving him the same storyline over and over again. Like, it's just like, betray everybody, but then redeems himself, then betray everybody, then redeems himself, then betray everybody, and then redeems, it was, you know, even by the end of, like, the season finale of season 6, like, it was just like, this is where, like, probably my issues come in, because I'm just like, I don't understand it. Like, this woman abandoned you. She changed your fate. She gave you the worst possible not outline, but she changed your destiny for the worst. Yeah, that's what it is. She changed his destiny for the worst, because she became a fairy godmother, and then he was supposed to be the savior, and she basically severed that tie, and then he went on to be the one of the most evilest people ever alive. By the way, I don't really think he was evil. I think he was evil, but I don't think he was Nimue bad, because like, he was a Dark One for like centuries, and apparently the Dark Ones have always been in the back of every Dark One's mind, being like, hey, destroy the light, destroy the light, destroy the light. While Rumple was just like, I just want my son back. And power. That's it. I don't really give a crap about destroying the light or whatever. The light can be over there. Like, I don't care. As long as I get what I want. Like, Rumple's just a selfish person. He's not, it's just like, and selfishness and evil do go together. But I think again, he's only looking out for himself and whatever benefits him and the people he cares about. He looks out for him and the people he cares about. And if you're one of those people, well, it's good for you, because he's gonna do whatever he can to make sure you're good. If you're not one of those people, that's when it starts to suck, okay? That's why they always use his, and he had a moral code. Like, it was interesting. He had a moral code, and he always stood by it, even though it felt like he didn't. You have to really pay attention. But, like, one of his codes was just, like, he always honors his debts. And he will hold, and he stands by it, even when he doesn't want to. He's just like, yeah, a deal's a deal. I owe you. So, yeah. Him still being a part of the show has stifled Belle's growth as a character. She was always defined by who she was with, and I believe her character would have soared if she had overcome losing her true love and learning to live life without him. Yes. And yes. And well, yes. Because Belle was just always tied. She was a satellite character. She was always revolving around somebody. It was very rare she had moments where she stood on her own. Even when she did stand on her own, it was to help Rumple. Like, it was never her own. Like, she was always revolving around somebody. And it was just like, girl, gain some independence. Like, I really feel like Belle could have been a very intriguing character. Her dealing with the loss of her true love and learning how to stand on her own and handle all the crazy stuff that happens in Storybrooke without him, and like, you know, becoming a very valued ally for Team Good. You know, I feel like because the makings were there. Like, she was intelligent. She was not, even though she wasn't a fighter, she wasn't defenseless. Like, she stood to her strengths, don't get me wrong. She wasn't an idiot, but she did do her best to protect the people that she cared about. And even when she was in a situation that she knew she couldn't win, she was just like, well, let me figure out something, because I'm not just gonna stand here and she's not gonna lay down and die. Like, no, she ain't gonna lay down and die. And she was an optimist. And I like that about her. And I would love to have seen that been delved deeper compared to her just always being tied to Rumple. Rumple. And I feel like she would have soared a lot. She would have gone, I think she would have been one of the most memorable characters in the show if it wasn't for her relationship with Rumple. Because it just honestly felt like a soap opera between the two of them, where they kept breaking up and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together. And I know they needed some more dichotomy in the show, because like after season 4, Emma was in a solid relationship. After season 1, Snow White and Charming were in a solid relationship. Like, most of the main relationships in the show were pretty solidified a season after they were established. Like, literally, so there was 3, because of the 3 big relationships in the show. 4. I'll give it 4. The 3, but the 4 big relationships in the show, I'll say 4, is the Charmings, Killian and I forget her name, Emma, Belle and Rumple, and Regina and Robin Hood. But my heart, he didn't deserve that ending. I did not like that. I didn't like that they did that to my boy. That's why I never watched the season finale for season 5, because I'm just like, no, that was not correct. That was not the tea. Because Regina earned her happy ending. Let Regina be happy. Dang, bro. Anyway, moving on. They could have had him a pretty part of the show, even though Rumple was dead. I know, they didn't want to give up. They didn't want to get rid of Robert Carlyle. I didn't want to give him up either. Trust me. Honestly, a lot of the story could still have happened without him being in the show. He could have been the devil, like in season 5. He still could have been the devil on Emma's shoulder. In season 4, it could have been a whole story arc for her to handle the loss and grief for Belle. It would have been a great way to show handling the loss and grief of Rumple and learning how to go through life without him, and ultimately realizing that she's going to keep living because of him. Well, not because of him, but she's going to keep living because that's what he would want for her, to keep living her life and to keep enjoying her life, and because that's all he ever wanted was for her to have everything she ever wanted out of life. And honestly, she could have left the show after season 4. After she goes through her whole character growth and learning how to be on her own and being independent, she could have just left. And the show would have been virtually the same. I know season 6 would have had to change a lot, because a lot of it was based on Belle, and a lot of it was hinging on Belle and Rumple and their son, and the Black Fairy being Rumple's mom. Man, Rumpelstiltskin's family tree is just so freaking messy, bro. It is so freaking messy. His dad being Peter Pan and his mom being the Dark Fairy. Even though, because at that point, they're kind of diving into the... Well, they call her the Black Fairy in the show, because technically Maleficent is the Dark Fairy. So, the Black Fairy is something different. I'm gonna have to rewatch season 6 to see how they explain that, because it is kind of confusing on how that worked. But, yeah. Those are all my reasonings for why I think Rumple should have not... Like, I feel like his story did end in season 3. I felt like... But do I think at that point in time in season 3? No. I feel like they could have pulled his story through for the entire season and made it work in a way where it's like it gave him a good finale, a good goodbye, where it was just like, and this gives not only him but Belle and all the other characters a chance to truly let him go. And I'm gonna tell you guys about that one in the next video. Yes, this is a 2-part video, y'all. I know it's just gonna be me. It's just gonna be more of me rambling. But if you love me, you'll watch it anyway, right? Like, sometimes I'm just here to yap. We're internet besties, and yapping is part of the bestie deal. So yeah, but that's all I got for y'all for today. Come back next time to find out how I would have done season 3 in order to write Rumple off in a satisfying way, while also, you know, giving him a great send-off, you know? I still like season 3 as a whole. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love season 3. It's my favorite season to rewatch. That and season 2. Season 3 and season 2 are my favorite shows, my favorite seasons of Once Upon a Time to rewatch. But, you know, it's just like, I have opinions, I have thoughts and opinions, and I feel like they should be heard. But that's all I got for y'all today. Let me know down below if you like these types of videos where I'm talking about my favorite show and my favorite characters in the show, and because I'll do more of them in the future if this is something you like. But that's it for me. Like and subscribe so I can start doing this full time, because I may be a struggling artist, but I'm not a starving artist, so I have a 9 to 5 and I really would like to not have to do anymore. But you know, I'm gonna keep working, I'm gonna keep hustling until my dream comes true and I can support myself on my dream. And you should do the same. Life is too short to be doing what you don't want to do, but also knowing that you need to do what you need to do to get to where you need to be, okay? So like, don't just wait for something to fall into your lap. You need to make moves in order to get to that place, okay? A little advice from your internet bestie. But that's it for me. It was nice seeing y'all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.